Okay, so we are dealing with mini roundabouts this evening. And the reason I have focused in on mini roundabouts, I'm trying to put together a whole sequence around roundabouts and make it clear to you. I'm going to be talking about the terminology that's involved as well. And that is absolutely critically important, because once you understand the concepts which I discussed with you this evening, you are going to be able to master mini roundabouts in a way you've never seen before. So just be really careful about what we do and think about it. So the first thing I want to do is we're going to talk about mini roundabouts this evening. And what I will do is I will play the clip as well so that you can get terminology. Now, can anybody just quickly define for us what a no signal is? How do you give a no signal? Because a no signal is a signal. How do you give a no signal? So when you give a no signal, it means you are not signaling. If you're not giving a signal, you are essentially going straight ahead. Okay, so no signal. And then a lockup in a mini roundabout. We are going to talk about a lockup. A lockup just basically means everybody has the right of way and nobody has the right of way. Shielding is when you use other cars. We're going to be talking about that. That's, some people call it a block when somebody blocks you, but I call it shielding because you're being shielded by another car. And then we are going to discuss dot fear as well. That is common instructor directive. There are a lot of instructors who think that they're doing a student a favor by talking a lot of fear about the dots. It's not a necessary. Dot fear is not something you need to have. So hopefully I'm going to save you from dot fear tonight. Okay, now what is a mini roundabout? First of all, a mini roundabout is normally at later stages. Mini roundabouts have not been around for a very long time. They've become more prevalent as junctions have got busier. And there's normally a way where you've got multiple junctions coming together, 3 or more junctions or 4 junctions coming together. And in the magic roundabouts, you've got up to 7 or 8 junctions coming together, where they put a mini roundabout instead of using traffic lights. The beauty about a mini roundabout is that normally it really regulates the traffic nicely. And if it's clear, you can easily go, and it doesn't create a buildup of traffic. That's the thing. They have done tests with mini roundabouts, and mini roundabouts can normally deal with traffic faster than traffic lights can. Okay, it is identified by the blue circle we saw at the beginning, and that circle is at the roundabout. Okay, you normally find a painted circle on the road. You might, as in this image, have a painted circle, or you can have an obstruction in the center, and as long as the sign is there, it is a mini roundabout. It's smaller than a standard roundabout, and it's designed for other junctions. And the question is, when is a small roundabout just small, and when is it officially a mini roundabout? And the answer is when you actually have the blue sign. So if we were to go back to the beginning slide, when you have this blue sign at the junction, people at the junction, it's a mini roundabout. It means that junction is a mini roundabout. And the reason you have this sign is if it's raining or if it's anything else, then that is not a mini roundabout. Now, what I want to do is, before we carry on now, I'm going to run this video that makes a heck of a difference on your driving test. The ability to do mini roundabouts like a pro.
Okay, we're going to talk about mini roundabouts. Now, most people, when they are asked how do you find a mini roundabout, they'll tell you you can normally identify it by the markings on the road. This is actually an incorrect answer, because a mini roundabout is not always a white dot in the center of the road. It is also, what is really important, it must have a sign defining it as a mini roundabout, because there are mini roundabouts that actually have an obstruction in the center, but it's still got this sign here. And that is what defines a mini roundabout. It is the sign itself at the junction. And it's not down the road as you approach the mini roundabout, it is at the junction itself where the mini roundabout is. So if this is covered in water, or it's covered in snow, or it's raining, or the light is shining from the other side, or it's worn, you can still know when you get to that junction, that sign tells you this is a mini roundabout. On mini roundabouts, when we approach the mini roundabout, we've always got to give way to our right. So we have to give way to the cars coming from the right-hand side. So this car here, if it was going straight through and it's no signal on, it would be going straight through. It would have priority over us if we were going left or if we were going right, because it's approaching us from our right-hand side. Any cars that approach us from our right-hand side have priority over us. If this car was here and it had its right signal on to go around the roundabout this way, and we had our right signal to go that way, we would actually have priority over this car, because we would be approaching the car from the right-hand side. So that's the first thing we have to look at. We have to always look at where the priority lies. If we were coming down from the right-hand side there in our learner car, and we had a car on this side coming across here with his right signal on, wanting to turn right, he would have priority over us because he's coming from our right-hand side and is approaching us from our right-hand side. That gives him priority over us. Any cars approaching us from the left-hand side should give priority to us. Now, one of the dangerous things that happen on mini roundabouts, if you have a stream of cars that are coming down a main road and you want to turn right, and these cars are approaching quite quickly, you've got your right signal on. So in actual fact, no matter what signal these cars have got on, you have priority over them. The only time that you'd have to consider them is if they came into this roundabout with their right signal on. The question is, what would they be doing with their right signal on? Legally, they could be turning around on the roundabout, and it's correct to use a mini roundabout in that. So if there were no cars on our right-hand side, these cars had no signal on, And this is like a main junction, and this is a lesser road, but it doesn't change the priorities because it's a mini roundabout priorities. We would have priority over these guys, but the danger is that if we just take that priority, this guy might not be thinking of giving you that priority, and you would end up with an accident. So one of the things you can always do is don't go through here accepting that you have priority unless you've made absolutely sure that car is going to stop. And a good way to do this is to get to here with your right signal on. And if this car has not stopped, then wait for him to go through, because invariably the next car will stop and you can go through. So that is like a holding point to determine whether you have your priority or not. Obviously, if you get here, you've got your right signal on, he's clearly stopped, then you just flow straight through.
That, guys, is a really, really important concept. Having a holding point. Sometimes you come up to a junction and it's like a main road and you've got all these cars going straight and you want to turn right. You're not sure if that car coming down the road at 30 miles per hour has actually noticed it's a mini roundabout, and you can't just assume you've got priority because you've got your right signal on. And I have so many times seen that happen where we've got one junction close to us here, which is like that, exactly that situation. And people, I don't know if they don't see the mini roundabout or they just fast asleep or what. You've got your right signal on, and if I had gone through and not waited to see if they actually stopped or wasn't clear they were going to stop, I would go into the roundabout to the holding position and just wait there, and I'll just sit there and wait for them to stop. Oftentimes I'm sitting at the holding position with my right signal on in the mini roundabout, and they go zooming past me. They had no intention to stop at all. That has happened more than once to me. So that's why I say you come up to the line with your right signal on, and you look at the oncoming cars that are going straight, you have priority over them. Obviously, if they're turning up the road you want to turn into, then they still have priority. You still have priority over them. But you need to know how to do that holding position, because it's a safe thing to do. You go into the roundabout, you sit with your right signal on, and once you know that guy has stopped or is stopping, you go in front of him and you go up the road, and it's all clear.